because he knows that if he can get you to avoid God's process and try to step into your calling unprepared, when you explode, you will destroy many others along with you. And the damage will be far worse than had you never entered into your calling at all. The point is, you've got to stay in God's process. Can't tell you how many people come to faith and they begin to experience God's process and they abandon their faith because as they go through that experience, they conclude that either there is no God, because any good God would never have allowed what they're experiencing to happen to them, or they conclude that the God of the Bible must not be the God that he claims to be, because he doesn't live up to their expectations, their version of what God should be or what God's process should be. The second group is the group who doesn't abandon their faith. They don't abandon their belief in God. However, they do abandon his process by taking matters into their own hands, or by basically resisting the process long enough that God allows them out of his process. And when that happens, these are generally the people who end up becoming ministers, pastors, preachers, prophets, right? All types of other people that are people who claim to believe in God, but they abandoned his process and they moved into the calling that God had for them before they were fully prepared, before they had been properly prepared for the fire. And these are the men that you see who, after becoming mega church pastors, after becoming mega famous, mega successful, end up exploding and taking out so many people with them. And some of these people are actually genuine. Some of these people are not people who are just claiming to believe in God, but don't truly believe in God and abandon the process. Some of them are people who got almost to the total finished product. They were almost there. They had been in God's process for years and years and years, and they were at that last phase of working out the last couple of imperfections before they went into the fire. And they decided that enough was enough and that they were ready. And because the Lord had prepared them to such an extent that their gifting would open doors for them, they stepped into things that God had not yet told them to step into, that they were not yet ready for, but that their gifting allowed them to step into. And because they were not fully prepared, when the fire came, it destroyed them and many others with them. And these are people who I genuinely believe in God, still believe in the Lord, right? Love the Lord. But they didn't allow the process to complete its work. And as a result, they did immeasurable damage to both themselves and others. Guys, take it from someone who's been in this process for the better part of 20 years. You do not want to go into the kiln before you're ready. The Lord's allowed me to do it twice. Both times were catastrophic. And it was by his immeasurable grace that he didn't have other pots in there with me, or at least not very many. My whole life, I've been a person who wanted to run ahead. I was always the kid that was trying to get ahead. I was always the kid that was like, just put me in, I'm ready, right? Never wanted to go through the discipline, the process of preparation for a thing. And even when I started to learn, okay, preparation is important. This last experience was terrible. I don't want to do that again. When it got to the point, I'm the one that's like, okay, I'm ready, right? I've been in this for however long it's been. I'm ready. Like, I'm like, look at me. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Take it from me. Wait. Even if you feel like you've been in God's process for your whole life, until he says it's time, until he says you're ready. You would be better off to be resisting going into it and him having to say, no, seriously, like, you're ready, go ahead. That is the better experience than the one where you say, no, God, I got this. You're done. I got this, right? I mean, look at me. Look at what you've done, right? Notice I'm even saying what you've done now. Like, I get it. I've learned the lesson. It wasn't us, it was you, right? Until he says, it's time. I just cannot stress enough how not worth it is to go before it's time. And for those of you that aren't like me, that aren't trying to run ahead, but maybe you're kind of in that situation where, he's smashed you down a bunch of times and you're getting to that place of despondence where you're starting to wonder, like, God, like, am I ever going to be worthy of use? Like, am I just defective? Am I that messed up that every single time you get me to a point where it looks like we're going somewhere, you have to smash me again? Because man, believe me, I've been there so many times, may have to be there again. I hope not, but but at the same time, right? Even though I hope not, if that's what it is, then I welcome it, because man, I don't want to be the pot in the kiln that explodes and takes everybody out with me. And so if you're in that place where you feel like the Lord just keeps smashing you back down and you just don't understand and you're starting to feel like maybe you're defective, I just want to encourage you. The potter doesn't make mistakes with what he's making. The clay is never defective. Some clay just requires more iterations to get it to the point where it's ready for what God wants to use it for. You see, the imperfections that form in the clay while God is shaping us. You see, the imperfections that form in the clay, they're not mistakes that the potter made, but they're also not mistakes that you made either. What they are is they are imperfections in the clay itself that are being exposed through the potter's process. Because the thing you have to remember is that God is not the only person who's been working on your clay. There's an adversary out there that hates you, that spent an entire lifetime coming up with creative strategies to corrupt and breed imperfections into the clay of humanity. Some of those imperfections got there by your parents' failures. Some of those imperfections got there by living in a broken world and coming up with incorrect ways of thinking or incorrect ways of being. All of these imperfections are things that have gotten into you as a result of the clay being in a fallen world. And so God has to go in and work all of those imperfections out of you so that you do not become destructive to both yourself and others.